Chapter 118, Breaking Through the Dawn State. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. A man in black with a cloak walked out from the back of the rockery and laughed in a hoarse voice. "It's sinister of you, Lord of the Western Yard. Did you deliberately draw us out with Zhang Yuochen?" The Lord of the Western Yard replied, "It's a pity that I didn't draw all of you out. But you are one of the leaders. If you are caught, it won't be difficult to catch the others." Since Elder Situ had been recognized, he decided not to hide his identity. He took off the cloak to show his skinny, old face. Then, he stared at the Lord of the Western Yard with sharp rays of light in his deep eyes. "Lord, I haven't seen you fight with others for over a decade. I just wonder about the level of your present cultivation." Elder Situ took out 2 crimson spears from his robe. Then he operated inscriptions to combine them, forming a 266 centimeter long blood-dripping spear. The spear was as crimson as blood. When the long spear was waved, it looked like a blood waterfall pouring down. The flaming genuine chi poured out from Elder Situ's palm and fully covered the long spear. Hot air came from the spear and heated up the surroundings to a high temperature. When all thought that there would be a duel between Elder Situ and the Lord of the Western Yard, Elder Situ suddenly stared at Zhang Yuochen coldly, with his left palm beating on the end of the long spear. Phew! The 266 centimeter long blood-dripping spear looked like a flaming arrow as it came off of the bowstring, and it gave out a harsh sound when it broke through the air and flew rapidly towards Zhang Yuochen. Crackling sounds emanated in the air. At that moment, Elder Situ moved a step to the right, stood on his tiptoes, and jumped into the air. He was like a giant bird and flew several dozens of meters away. Then he jumped out of Dragon Martial Temple and escaped in the distance. He knew that he could never defeat the Lord of the Western Yard. However, Zhang Yuochen was the Achilles heel. So long as the Lord of the Western Yard attempted to save Zhang Yuochen, he would have the opportunity to escape. Zhang Yuochen stepped back quickly with his eyes fixed on the crimson spear which was heading straight towards him. The Lord of the Western Yard caught the spear immediately when the long blazing spear flew in front of Zhang Yuochen. Then the Lord swung his arm and threw out the long spear in a stronger power to make it faster. Boom! The crimson spear flew out like a fire dragon and broke the enclosing wall of the Dragon Palace. A terrible screech came from the outside of the wall. Built with bricks, the enclosing wall of Dragon Martial Temple was 7 meters high and 1 meter thick. However, the long blazing spear had broken the wall and caused a big hole 2 meters in diameter, making the thick wall topple down. Through the hole, it could be seen that Elder Situ had been pierced through and fell down in a pool of blood. Zhang Yuochen looked at the Lord of the Western Yard and was amazed by his powerful martial cultivation that had killed Elder Situ in one attack, which was a drop in the bucket of his real strength. Having seen the dark purple poisonous wound on Zhang Yuochen's neck, the Lord of the Western Yard took out a medicine bottle and said, "You have the hypertoxic poison Netherworld water from Hades department. Fortunately, it is not enough to kill you. Here is the tailored detoxification pill. Take it right now." Zhang Yuochen removed the detoxification pill from the bottle and took it. Immediately, the dark purple in the neck began to fade and the wound soon healed completely. The Lord of the Western Yard stared at Zhang Yuochen, nodded with satisfaction and laughed. "Yue Jingchen told me that your spiritual power had reached to the 29th level, which makes you the unprecedented top genius of spiritual power in the school of the martial market." "Aha, good boy. I feel quite satisfied with your achievements, and I will show off in front of my peers the next time I go to the school of the martial market." The Lord of the Western Yard stopped for a while and said in a serious voice, "But I have to ask you seriously. Do you want to be a saint of spiritual power?" Without any hesitation, Zhang Yuochen answered, "No, I won't give up martial arts." The Lord of the Western Yard stared at Zhang Yuochen and said, "Zhang Yuochen, do you know how brilliant your talents are in spiritual power? You can probably be in the top 10 even throughout the history of the whole Terran and Kunlun's field. Based on your talents and cultivation from the school of the martial market, the possibility for you to become a saint of spiritual power is at least 50%. Zhang Yuochen refused. "Lord, I will never give up martial arts no matter how hard you try to persuade me." The Lord of the Western Yard said, "Well, actually, You also have brilliant talents in martial arts and you will make great achievements in the future. Deputy Headmaster King, who promised to help you apply for 10 drops of half Saint's essence. You will be able to apply within 3 days. If you have any questions about martial arts, feel free to ask me at any time. The quarterly assessment will be held in 2 months. Thus, you need to spare no efforts to practice. I am looking forward to your success in the competition among freshmen from 4 campuses to win honors for the Western Campus. Zhang Yuochen replied, I will try my best. The Lord of the Western Yard stared at the body of Elder Situ, thought for a while and said, although Elder Situ died, there must be other killers from Hades Department lurking in the Western Campus. However, they have little cultivation. Little Duanmu, you will be responsible for his safety in the next 2 months. Is that okay? Of course, Lord. I promise you. Duanmu Xingling smiled. The Lord of the Western Yard nodded and commanded others to clean up the bodies of the 3 killers from Hades Department and hang them on a 30-meter high bloody wall on the Western Campus. After being killed, all the spies from the black market and the moon worship demonic sect were hung on the bloody wall for 3 days. This was used as a warning to other spies. Senior Sister Apprentice Hulian. I didn't imagine that she is a killer from Hades Department. She once gave some guidance on my archery. Elder Situ was in the Western Campus for decades. I had never imagined that he was a heretic from the black market. Fortunately, he has been killed by the Lord. Otherwise, countless genius students would have been assassinated by him. The death of the 3 killers caused a great sensation in the Western Campus and attracted many students to the bloody wall. Zikiane stood in the crowd and stared at the 3 bodies on the wall, with unspeakable solemnity in her heart. Perhaps one day she would be killed as well, and her body would be hung on that bloody wall. Since she chose to be a killer, she made full mental preparation to be killed someday. Not only Zikiane, but also 2 other students in the crowd were frightened. They left silently. In Dragon Martial Temple, Duanmu Xingling laughed with her arms folded across her chest. Spies from Hades Department have been struck heavily. Even the Elder Situ has been killed. I suppose that no one would dare to assassinate you in the short run. Zhang Yuochen stared at the debris and collapsed wall on the ground and said, now Black Number 1 has been ruined. It may take a month to repair it. Where can we live? Duanmu Xingling stopped, touched her chin and laughed. Let's move to Sister Chen's room. You just fought with her and have a bad relationship with her now. Will she let you live in Earth Number 1? Asked Zhang Yuochen. Don't worry. Since I already had a fight with Sister Chen, she should be calmed down now. Let's go. Trust me, she will accept us, said Duanmu Xingling. The gate of Earth Number 1 was open when Duanmu Xingling and Zhang Yuochen arrived. They went straight into it. Suddenly, Zhang Yuochen stopped. Chew. A blue sword flew out of the window and passed by Zhang Yuochen's nose. Huang Yanjun walked out of the room and stood above with arrogance. She stared at Duanmu Xingling and Zhang Yuochen and said in a grim voice, what are you doing here? Get away right now if you don't want to die. Duanmu Xingling chuckled and jumped towards Huang Yanjun. She held Huang Yanjun's arms, acting like a spoiled child, and said in a delicate voice, now Yellow Number 1 and Black Number 1 are both destroyed. We have nowhere to go. Sister Chen, I beg you to let us live here for the sake of our helpless situation. I beg you. Zhang Yuochen stood below and said in an unflappable voice, if Senior Sister Apprentice Huang is still angry at me, I will go to my 4th brother's room to live with him. Farewell. Who told you that I was still angry? When was I angry at you? The solemn expression on Huang Yanjun's face disappeared and she giggled with a smile. Now that you are here for my protection, how can I refuse to take you in? Follow me. Huang Yanjun stretched her arms with genuine chi bursting out from her palm and forming a twisted wind power. Driven by the wind power, the blue sword that was stuck in the stone wall beside Zhang Yuochen returned to her palm with a swish. Telekinesis. Zhang Yuochen squinted and thought more highly of Huang Yanjun. With her perfect control of genuine chi, she would spend little time to reach the advanced stage realm of sword following the mind. From now on, Xingling will live with me on the 2nd floor and you in the lobby downstairs. And you can never come to the 2nd floor without my permission. Do you have any questions? Huang Yanchen stared at Zhang Yuochen through her beautiful eyes with warped eyelashes. The lobby was really capacious, containing not only a single room but also a study room, an instrument room, and a martial arts practice hall. There was a public bathhouse outside the instrument room, beside which grew a line of maple trees. The environment was quite elegant. Zhang Yuochen said, "Well, from now on, I will live in the martial arts practice hall and never disturb you." After finishing his words, Zhang Yuochen walked into the martial arts practice hall with Blackie. The martial arts practice hall was very spacious at 8 meters long and 6 meters wide. Except for the entrance, the room was all surrounded by stone walls with the inscription of array carving to protect them from being broken through by the sword breath. "Zhang Yuochen, I'm going to read in the study room." Then, Blackie left the martial arts practice hall like a flash. Over the following 3 days, Zhang Yuochen practiced the sacred sword skill in the martial arts practice hall in the daytime and entered into the internal space of the time and space spinal to take in pills and practice genuine chi when the night fell. Zhang Yuochen carried a great number of pills that he obtained them by searching the students in the first exam of their martial school. The total amount of pills was more than 300 bottles, including pills to increase genuine chi, pills to increase his power, pills to heal wounds, antidotes, and pills to strengthen spiritual blood. After a rough estimation, Zhang Yuochen was sure that so many pills were enough for him to practice to the completion of the Black Realm. 3 days later, Deputy Yard Master King Hu carried 10 drops of half-saint's essence to Earth number 1 and handed them over to Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen could not wait to refine the 10 drops of half-saint's essence the moment he got them. "Blackie, guard me when I practice. If Senior Sister Apprentice Huang and Duanmu come here, tell them that I am secluding myself for refining." Zhang Yuochen told this to Blackie and he entered the internal space of time and space spinal. Then he took out the first drop of half-saint's essence, swallowed it, and started to refine the body. Zhang Yuochen spent 8 days in the time and space spinal refining 2 drops of half-saint's essence and his cultivation eventually broke through the dawn state of the Black Realm.